Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Tax Tips with LaShawn. This question comes from Jessica, and the question is, what if I can't afford to pay the taxes that I owe to the IRS? Thanks for the question, Jessica. So, if tax season rolls around and you realize you can't afford to pay the taxes that you owe, don't panic, okay? There are options that you have, but the worst thing that you can do is ignore the IRS. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you file your tax return on time every time, okay? Even if you can't pay, filing is going to protect you from the late filing penalty. And that penalty is actually much higher than the penalty for not paying. So always file. Let's say that you just say, okay, I'm going to ignore it, out of sight, out of mind. You don't file and you don't pay. You're going to be hit with two different penalties. And this penalty is going to keep accruing every time and every year that you don't file. In addition to that, the IRS is going to also charge you interest, okay? And they are not lenient. They're going to charge you interest on any balance that you owed. So, what you'll find is that the longer that you ignore this, sometimes those penalties and interest might be larger than the balance that you actually owed. And we're just talking about on the federal side, okay, Jessica? You can also be hit with interest and penalties on the state side too. So, my recommendation is to make sure that you file every year on time. And even if you can't pay, be sure to file. Okay, so now you filed your tax return and you still have that balance. How do you handle that? Because you are going to get notices that you have a balance, and it is going to be something that might cause stress. The first option that you have is that you can set up a payment plan. Okay, the IRS and state agencies do offer installment agreements that let you pay your balance over time. Okay, and they do offer manageable amounts. So there are forms that you can complete based off of your financial situation that will tell you, how much you can comfortably afford to pay every month, and just make sure you stick to that payment plan. You can usually do that online, or you can call into the IRS to set that up as well. Okay, let's say you're in a situation where life is just life in and you have a lot of things coming up and you are just not in a situation where you can pay anything. Okay, this is a common issue. Life happens to everyone. So there are options that you have where you can request a temporary delay. Okay, if you have a financial hardship, you're going through medical problems, things are happening, the IRS can put you in what they call a CNC status. That's currently not collectible. And that's going to give you breathing room. It gives you a little time, right, where you don't have to make a payment, but you're still in compliance with the IRS. So you don't have to worry about them taking any collection activities, trying to levy your wages, take money out your paycheck, come after your assets, anything like that. The key to this is you have to be in communication with the IRS. You can't just ignore the notices. You have to actually set up a plan. And in some cases, this might be a little more rare, but you can enter into a situation where you can do a offer and compromise. And this is if you can't afford to pay the full amount that you owe, you could qualify to settle for less than you owe. Okay, this is going to require a full financial statement. So there's a form that you have to complete. The IRS will want to know everything about how much money are in your accounts, what assets you have, if you have any equity in your properties. This might be a situation where they could ask you to refinance or sell properties to satisfy a tax balance. Okay, so there are options for you to consider when you're going through this. So the key thing to remember is that you're not powerless, right? The IRS does have systems for this, but you have to be the one to take the first steps. So, just to recap what we talked about today, if you're in a situation where you know you can't afford to pay your tax balance, it's very important that you still file even when you can't pay. Number two, you want to make sure that you're in communication with the IRS. Don't ignore any notices. Don't just out of sight, out of mind it. because the IRS is one of the few authorities where they can garnish your wages, they can take your house, they can take your assets, they can take your passports. They have the room to really make your life miserable if you don't take action on your account. Okay. So the key thing to remember is to file a tax return every year, communicate with the IRS, and use a good tax professional so that you don't have to worry about things like this. If you guys have any other type of tax questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments of this video, and I will reply to you and get back to you. If you are looking for a tax professional to assist you with back taxes, audit support, or if you owe over $10,000 to the IRS, go ahead and book a free consultation using the link in the bio. Thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next video.